A single tree falls in the Indonesian rainforest. No chainsaws. No metal blades. Just stone, fire, and generations of knowledge passed down through whispered teachings. Within weeks, that fallen giant will carry families across dangerous river rapids. This is how the Sakuddei people turn wood into survival, using methods the modern world forgot centuries ago. Welcome to another journey into living traditions. I'm here to share stories of cultures that keep ancient skills alive, not as museum pieces, but as daily necessities. Today, we're traveling to Siberut Island in Indonesia's Mentawai archipelago, home to the Sakuddei people. These rainforest dwellers have maintained their traditional lifestyle for thousands of years, isolated from mainland influence until recently. Their canoes aren't tourist attractions. They're lifelines. Every fishing trip, every journey to collect sago, every visit between villages depends on watercraft built entirely without modern metal tools. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how they do it, and why this knowledge matters more than you might think. But first, let me ask you something. Could you build a boat using only what the forest provides? Here's something that'll surprise you. The most critical moment in building these canoes doesn't happen when they're shaping the wood. It happens weeks before, during a process that would look completely mysterious to outsiders. We'll get to that revelation later, but trust me, it changes everything about how you understand traditional craftsmanship. Let's establish where we are. Siberut Island sits about 150 kilometers off the western coast of Sumatra, surrounded by the Indian Ocean. The Sakuddei are one of several indigenous groups in the Mentawai Islands, living in communal longhouses, deep within primary rainforest. Their world is water. Rivers thread through the jungle like veins, and the coastline offers fishing grounds that have sustained communities for millennia. Unlike many indigenous groups who've transitioned to modern tools, some Sakuddei communities still practice the old ways, particularly in more remote areas. Why? Partly by choice, maintaining cultural identity, and partly by necessity. Metal tools rust quickly in this humid climate. They require outside trade or money. Stone, bamboo, and fire never run out. Their canoes, called otoikat, range from small single-person crafts to family-sized vessels capable of carrying several people plus cargo. These aren't recreational boats. They navigate fast-moving rivers, ocean swells, and transport everything from sago starch to hunting catches. The question isn't whether these canoes work, obviously they do, or the Sakuddei wouldn't have survived here. The real question is, how do you engineer a functional watercraft without any of the precision tools we take for granted? Now, before we get into the actual construction, here's where most people get it wrong. They assume traditional boat building is just about carving wood. But the Sakuddei know something crucial: the best canoe is chosen before the first cut is ever made. Tree selection isn't just practical, it's spiritual. And getting it wrong means wasting months of work. The first step happens in the forest. Experienced builders, usually elder men who've been crafting canoes for decades, search for specific tree species. The preferred wood is. The tree needs particular qualities: straight grain, minimal knots, natural resistance to water rot, and most importantly, the right diameter. Too narrow, and the finished canoe won't have adequate stability. Too wide, and it becomes impossibly heavy to maneuver through the forest after felling. The sweet spot is usually trees between 60 to 90 centimeters in diameter. But here's where tradition meets pragmatism. Before cutting, the builder examines the tree's location. Can it be felled safely? Which direction will minimize damage to the trunk when it falls? Is there a clear path to drag it to the river? These forests are dense. Moving a multi-100-kilogram log through undergrowth without machinery requires serious planning. There's also a ceremonial aspect. Many Sakuddei consult with kirai, traditional shamans or spiritual leaders, before major undertakings. The forest isn't just a resource, it's inhabited by spirits that must be respected. Offerings might include betel nut, tobacco, or prayers asking permission to take the tree. This isn't superstition for them. It's maintaining balance with the environment that sustains them. Once the tree is selected and blessed, the real work begins. Here's where it gets impressive. Felling a tree without a metal axe or saw sounds nearly impossible. But the Sakuddei use a combination of stone adzes, controlled fire, and strategic patience. A stone adze is basically a sharpened stone blade lashed to a wooden handle. Think of it like an axe, but the cutting edge is perpendicular to the handle. These tools are made from river stones with naturally hard compositions, carefully shaped through pecking with other rocks until a sharp edge forms. One adze might take days to create, and a skilled builder owns several in different sizes. The felling technique involves chopping a wedge-shaped notch on the side where they want the tree to fall. But stone doesn't cut as fast as steel. So they employ fire. Small, controlled burns are set at the base, allowed to char the wood, then the charred material is chopped away with the adze. Fire, chop. Fire, chop. This method, used by indigenous peoples worldwide, speeds the process dramatically. It might take several days for a large tree. The work is communal. Men from the Uma take turns, while women and children bring food and water. There's a rhythm to it, not the frantic pace of modern forestry, but steady, deliberate progress. When the tree finally falls, they let out a collective shout. The sound echoes through the forest. But there's no time for extended celebration. Now comes the challenge of rough shaping and transport. You might be thinking, okay, they cut down a tree. Now they just hollow it out, right? Not quite. Remember that mysterious critical step I mentioned at the beginning? This is where it comes in. What the Sakuddei do next determines whether their canoe will last 1 season or 10 years. And it involves something that seems completely counterintuitive. Once the tree is down, they remove branches and rough bark using the same fire and adze method. Then comes rough shaping at the forest site. Why not wait until it reaches the river? Wait. Every unnecessary kilogram makes transport harder. So they create the basic canoe profile right there, flattening the bottom, rounding the sides, removing excess wood from the ends. But here's the secret, they don't hollow it out yet. Instead, the log is dragged to the river, using a combination of manpower, log rollers made from smaller branches, and sometimes crude vine ropes. This can take days depending on distance. Once at the riverside or near the Uma, the real artistry begins. The hollowing process requires incredible skill. Without measuring tools, the builder must judge thickness by eye and touch. Too thin, and the canoe cracks under stress. Too thick, and it's unnecessarily heavy and unstable in water. They use a combination of techniques, burning sections of the interior, then scraping out the charred wood. Adzing in careful, controlled strokes. Testing thickness by tapping and listening to the resonance. Top builders can achieve remarkably consistent wall thickness, often around 2 to 3 centimeters throughout. They work from the center outward, constantly checking balance and symmetry. A lopsided canoe will spin in the current. The bow and stern are shaped last. Depending on the canoe's intended use, these might be pointed for river speed or slightly broader for ocean stability. Some builders add subtle ridges or keels along the bottom to improve tracking. This entire shaping phase can take weeks. It's not full-time work, there are gardens to tend, hunts to make, sago to process. But little by little, the log transforms. Take a second and think about this. In your own life, what's something you've built entirely by hand? Maybe a piece of furniture, a garden bed, even a meal from scratch? Drop your answer in the comments. I'm genuinely curious what skills people are keeping alive today. A hollowed log doesn't automatically make a good canoe. Water seeps into wood grain. Without treatment, the vessel becomes waterlogged and eventually rots. The Sakuddei have sophisticated solutions using only forest materials. First, fire hardening. They build small fires inside the completed hull, carefully controlling intensity. The heat dries the wood deeply and causes surface resin to harden, creating a more water-resistant layer. They rotate the canoe constantly to ensure even treatment. Too much heat, and the wood cracks. Too little, and it remains vulnerable. Next comes natural sealant. Various tree resins and saps are collected. These are heated until liquid, then applied to the interior and exterior surfaces, particularly along the grain where water penetrates most easily. Some communities mix in plant fibers or crushed charcoal to create a more durable paste. The canoe is then left to cure, set in the sun during dry periods, allowing the sealant to fully harden. This might take a week or more. Finally, outfitting. Most Sakuddei canoes include simple wooden seats or platforms, usually just notched logs laid across the hull. Some builders add small raised sections at bow and stern for cargo. Paddles are carved from separate wood, usually something lighter and more flexible than the hull material. Each paddle is personalized, sized to its user's height and strength. Testing happens incrementally. First, floating it empty in calm water, checking for leaks or balance issues. Then adding weight gradually. Finally, a maiden voyage on familiar, gentle waters. If problems appear, adjustments are made, more sealant applied, weight distribution changed, or in rare cases, the canoe is abandoned and lessons are applied to the next build. So we've watched a tree become a canoe. But here's what most documentaries don't tell you: this isn't just about preserving tradition. There's a practical reason why some Sakuddei choose these methods over modern alternatives, and it has everything to do with the future, not the past. You could dismiss traditional canoe building as quaint or outdated. After all, you can buy a fiberglass kayak or aluminum boat that's lighter, more durable, and faster to produce. So why do some Sakuddei communities maintain these labor-intensive methods? First, environmental independence. A stone adze doesn't require money, fuel, or supply chains. Forest materials regenerate. If metal tools rust or break, common in tropical humidity, there's no hardware store. Traditional knowledge provides genuine self-sufficiency. Second, cultural identity. These canoes represent continuity with ancestors stretching back thousands of years. Building one connects you to that lineage in ways a purchased boat never could. For the Sakuddei facing pressure from logging companies, tourism, and cultural assimilation, maintaining traditional skills is an act of resistance and pride. Third, ecological knowledge. The process of selecting trees, understanding wood properties, and reading the forest creates deep environmental literacy. This isn't just craft. It's an educational system that teaches young people how their ecosystem works. Fourth, community cohesion. Canoe building is rarely solitary. It involves shared labor, knowledge exchange, and celebration. Modern life often isolates us. Traditional practices bind communities together through collective purpose. And finally, adaptation. These methods evolve. Some builders now use metal when available but maintain the underlying knowledge. The goal isn't rigid preservation like a museum exhibit, it's living culture that changes while retaining its essence. The Sakuddei aren't rejecting progress. They're choosing which aspects of modernity serve them and which don't. That's wisdom worth recognizing. So we started with a fallen tree and ended with a vessel that carries lives. Along the way, we've seen how stone, fire, and generations of observation can create sophisticated engineering. The Sakuddei build canoes without metal tools not because they're stuck in the past, but because this knowledge connects them to place, community, and identity in ways modernity often can't match. These skills are fragile. Each elder who passes without teaching the next generation takes irreplaceable knowledge with them. Organizations are working with Sakuddei communities to document these practices, not to fossilize them, but to ensure young people have the choice to learn. And here's something to consider. In a world facing climate instability and resource uncertainty, maybe the question isn't why the Sakuddei still use traditional methods. Maybe it's what the rest of us have forgotten by abandoning them entirely. What do you think? Is there value in maintaining traditional skills even when modern alternatives exist? Or is this holding communities back from development opportunities? It's not a simple answer, and I'd love to hear your perspective. If this story resonated with you, hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss future documentaries exploring living traditions around the world.